London, late November, 1888. The city is exhaling a breath it has held for months. Mary Jane Kelly is in her grave, and the autumn of terror is officially over. The Whitechapel monster has vanished into the fog from whence he came. Or so the history books, written by the very men who failed to catch him, would have you believe. But follow the iron veins of the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway 70 miles south. You'll find a quiet market town called Havant. In 1888, this wasn't just a sleepy village, it was a vital railway interchange. A place where a gentleman could step off a train, wait an hour for a connection, and disappear into the night without a soul knowing his name. On November 26, 1888, just 17 days after the Ripper's supposed final kill, an 8-year-old boy named Percy Searle was found in a dark lane known as the Palant. His throat had been opened with the clinical precision of a surgeon. Tonight, we're leaving the East End behind. We're following a trail of blood that bought a first-class ticket. The local police were in a frenzy. The Ripper had made Scotland Yard look like amateurs, and the Hampshire constabulary wasn't about to be next. They needed a culprit, and they found a child. Robert Husband, 11 years old. They claimed this boy, with a blunt, rusty pocket knife, was capable of a 3-inch deep surgical-grade execution. Why? Because earlier that day, he'd supposedly whispered to a friend, "I am Jack the Ripper." But the medical evidence told a different story. This wasn't a playground fight. This was a professional hit. As Bruce Robinson, author of They All Love Jack, Busting the Ripper, argues, Robert Husband wasn't a killer. He was a very convenient boy-shaped shield used by the establishment to pretend the Whitechapel monster hadn't left London. Now, look at the geography. Percy was killed in the Palant, and standing right there, at the corner of the crime scene, was Carnarvon Lodge No. 804, a convenient 2-minute walk to the station. To Robinson's view, the Ripper wasn't a chaotic madman. He was a ritualist. He was mapping his crimes onto a sacred geography. To kill a boy just yards from a lodge door, that's not a coincidence. That's a twisted calling card left for his brothers to find. Robinson thinks this isn't a coincidence. It's a Masonic signature. The Ripper murders were littered with ritualistic symbolism. And who was a high-ranking member of the craft? None other than Michael Maybrick. To the public, he was Stephen Adams, the most famous composer in Britain, a celebrity, a superstar, a man who lived on the railway. Imagine him stepping off the train at Havant. He has an hour to kill. He knows the area. He knows a Masonic lodge is nearby. He encounters a child. But the most damning evidence is the paper trail. The evidence isn't just geographical, it's postal. During the Whitechapel murders, thousands of hoax letters were sent to the police, but a few stood out. Just 2 days before Percy Searle was killed, a letter arrived postmarked from Portsmouth, a city just a few miles down the track from Havant. The letter mocked the police, warning them, "I am not in London now. Don't bother looking for me there." Robinson found a chilling pattern. Letters postmarked from Birmingham, Southampton, Portsmouth. They all arrived precisely when Michael Maybrick's touring schedule placed him in those exact cities. He wasn't just killing, he was mailing his itinerary to Scotland Yard. Even his music seems to mock us. In his hit song, The Holy City, he wrote, "Hushed with a glad hosannas the little children sang." Is that a composer's flourish? or a killer's confession regarding the boy he left in the Palant. By the time the body is cold, the gentleman is back in his carriage, sipping brandy while the steam engine pulls him toward Waterloo. Robert Husband was eventually acquitted at Winchester. The jury saw a terrified child, not a butcher. But the system never looked for another suspect. The case was quietly buried under a pile of Masonic handshakes and celebrity protection. Percy Searle lies in a weathered grave in Havant. But the man who likely ended his life died a wealthy, respected gentleman, respected Freemason, a magistrate, and a 5 times Mayor of Ryde on the Isle of Wight for a time too. His secret's safe. Was Percy Searle the Ripper's final, forgotten masterpiece? When you connect the railway lines, the lodge doors, and the tour dates, the coincidence becomes impossible to ignore. Maybe the very time you wait for